Welcome, one and all, to It's Covered, the insurance podcast. Because if you think that insurance is boring, then you are not doing it properly. Mel, how's it going today?
It's going great.
Perfect. So, I'm Paul. And
I'm Mel.
Yeah, I mentioned that, but we're going to talk a little bit about like organizing your day and scheduling out your day. And it's very appropriate because we were supposed to start this an hour ago.
Yes.
And actually, what happened this morning is a real good reason why we should be doing stuff like this.
Right.
Because first of all, is the thing that happened that should be the thing that interrupts your schedule, which is a customer came in to buy something.
Right.
We always like that.
Always like that. Yeah. You can't plan for that if they just walk in.
But then I'm catching up on watching Luke Cage on Netflix, and you had already seen it, and so we got distracted by that a little bit.
Yeah. We had to do our water cooler.
Yes, yes.
Discuss.
The moment extended, though.
Discuss television.
I think we hit Avengers in there, and boy, goodness, if you haven't figured it out already, listening to this podcast, we're a little nerdy.
Just a little.
Yeah. But.
And no, we do not dress up or cosplay regularly. I know with my wife, as soon as, I say I like sci-fi and I'm a little nerdy, she goes, "Oh my gosh, do you dress up?" No, that she always goes there, so I feel obligated to say that.
Okay, so I just real quickly, this came up where somebody was commenting, and this has nothing to do with insurance, and this doesn't even really have anything to do with politics, but we're going to dive into something that happened politically, where like this white supremacist group was doing some demonstration, and they had like shields and torches and something, and one of the commentators was like making fun of them for because he was saying that they were LARPing. LARPing, for those who don't know, is live action role playing. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but you go out in the field and you have like play swords and stuff, and you act out the whole battle and stuff. And I immediately, and I've never LARPed, but immediately I'm like, hey, the nerds, those are my people. Don't lump us in with those guys. I got to defend the LARPers out there.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, yeah. I don't really cosplay that often, unless you are listening to this podcast and you have not watched the video version of it yet. We might be cosplaying right now, for all you know.
That's right.
But we're not.
Everybody does at least once, or around the end of October. So.
Exactly. Well, so I was kind of thinking about this, and I'll say, in my working career, and I know you've gone through the same things, it's like I've gone through many phases where my workday has become very unstructured and really kind of scattershot type, hitting a little bit of everything at once. And I have just quite a few projects on my desk, as I know you do. Little things here and there. Some of them are very little. Some of them are very big. Some of them are going to take a little bit of time. Some of them are going to take possibly months. But there's a lot of stuff like this. And so I go through phases where I become very, very unstructured. And I start kind of hitting everything at once. And then I catch myself in that, and I spend some time getting more structured. And we've been through this actually a number of times as an agency of trying to structure our days better. And so I kind of want to talk about this because I'm always interested to hear from other people on how they are accomplishing this. I know a lot of agents and producers online have posted like an hourly schedule of what their day is like. And they, it's like, okay, from this time to this time, I'm just doing quotes, and from this time to this time, I'm cold calling, and from this time to this time, I'm follow-up calling, and then from this time to this time, I'm, developing a relationship with realtors and stuff like that. And there's always stuff that like gets in the way of that, but at very least you have the basic outline of what you need to do and when. So like something like today, a guy coming by, getting 3 policies from us, that's going to interrupt whatever we had planned for the morning, and it should. Yeah. That's always good. But at the same time, I've been deep into my own process of organizing my day here recently, because I discovered that it's like that I've got so much stuff I'm doing. I was doing 15 minutes of each thing, and then going back and forth with them, and you don't really accomplish that much with it. Yeah. When you're bouncing from topic to topic, you're not getting enough focus into that topic to really make headway.
And that's kind of hard to see unless you put it to the test. I know for me, you're much more organized than I am, and unless I organize my day and put that to the test in comparison to not organizing my day,
yep.
I will not see the difference, because my brain will not tell me that it's faster organizing my day.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, we all. And look, I mean, we've worked here on our own, but we've also worked for corporate. And I've worked for a couple of corporations, and no matter where I go, like, multitasking has been a goal. How are you at multitasking? And the studies keep coming out that everybody sucks at multitasking.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now there's times that you have to. I mean, it's like there's always stuff that you're in the middle of something and the phone rings, and we want to answer the phone, obviously. Phone's a good thing to answer when you're in a business. Personal life, definitely not. My goodness, why are you people calling me? Text me, please. Yeah. This is 2018. Why is my phone ringing? It should not be happening. And so we've got to stop. We've got to shift gears. We've got to go into something else. But by and large, when we're trying to do 2 things at once, it takes us longer to do the 2 things than if we did one and then the other one. And the quality is also worse. And it's because we are trying to get our brain to shift back and forth between things, when our brain is much better at focusing on one thing for a period of time and then moving to something else. And we convince ourselves that we're doing just fine. Because that's what's been drilled into us.
Yeah.
Is multitasking is good. I remember our old coworker, friend of ours, it became an office meme.
Yeah, definitely.
Her multitasking.
Yeah.
Because we were having meetings, and she would like start doing something.
Yeah.
And I would call her out on it, and she was, oh no, I'm multitasking. And I would say, great, what did I just say? Silence.
Yeah.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
And so that became the meme of whenever like we were talking to her and she was just she's just not even really listening.
Right.
Is she's multitasking.
Yeah, and I think you kind of broke her of that, because then like towards the after a while she started just coming out and saying I wasn't listening.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, but yeah. So that's I think a worthwhile knowing that there aren't, as far as I tell from the studies, there aren't any exceptions to this rule. No. That multitasking is generally a bad idea, and we want to cut it out of our day as much as possible. But we do have many things that we've got to accomplish in a day. And so it seems to me that a lot of the people, a lot of the other agents I look up to, a lot of the people who are really successful in this industry, they have a plan as to what they're going to be doing at a given time. And I found that I had to do that in claims as well. It's like we both started off in the personal injury protection med pay department, and so I had to pay a lot of medical bills, while reviewing the notes, while making contacts, while following up with people, while requesting more information, etc. So on, reviewing things for closure. And I found very early on, and this was a good measurement for me. I found very early on that I could not keep up with that, and so I was like, okay, well, I've got to pay this many bills. Let me just focus on it for a while. And so I kind of structured out my day to when I was going to do what.
Yeah.
And that would vary. Sometimes in the middle of bill pay, somebody would call and I'd have to have a 30-minute conversation with them, and that kind of messed up the schedule. But that's okay. At least I knew, basically what I needed to be doing and when.
I don't know where that's odd. I don't know where it comes from, that multitasking mentality, and I think I came up with it myself because I wanted to tell my mom that I could do my homework and watch TV at the same time. And because my kids do that as well, they say, I can do it, and especially whenever I want them to watch a movie, a movie I really like, and I want them to pay attention, and I have to tell them to put down their phone, and they tell me, I am watching the movie. No, you're not. And I know I've said this before to you, maybe not on this show, but it's weird that my kids can watch any trailer of a movie, or you can tell them, and they won't be able to tell you if they've actually seen it or not, because they remember bits and pieces of the movie, and that's because their attention fades in and out of the movie because it goes from the movie to the phone, movie to the phone, and they'll watch the movie and go, I don't think I've seen this. Oh, yeah, I seen it. I remember this part. Oh, maybe not. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
So it's odd when you said that, that we do that. I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, everybody thinks they can do it.
Well, and I mean, we have this a lot here, and I repeatedly have to apologize to you for it. It's when I'm engrossed in some task, and you will need to discuss a problem.
Yeah.
And you go, "Hey, Paul," and I say, "Yes, Mel." And I'm thinking, is like, okay, I need to finish this, so I'm typing away, and in the background you're saying, quote, wah 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 wah. and then at some point I hear, you think we could do this with an endorsement? And I just stop, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Repeat all that again. And you give me that look like you're just an idiot. But I know it doesn't work. We've done it 100 times, but it's that thing of like, I want to get this done. I want to be able to accomplish this, and I want to help you as well, and it's like weighing. It's like, which one do I want more? Let's just try doing both. It doesn't work.
So yeah, structuring the day when you can actually say on paper, these are the things and the time that I'm going to turn my focus to these things.
Right,
so
yeah.
At this time, I'm going to focus on X. On this time, I'm going to focus on Y. At this time, I'm going to, get up and focus on lunch, and then I'm going to focus on whatever it is.
I'm just imagining you focusing on lunch. Lunch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't want to press in the wrong number on the microwave.
Yeah, and so I am a big fan of of doing these of doing these schedules, but I'm also a big fan of supporting one another in that.
Yeah.
Because if I'm planning to lay off the phones for an hour to get some quoting done, or if I'm in claims and I need to review some medical notes and I need to put aside an hour for that, it defeats the purpose if I'm answering the phone in the meantime.
Yeah.
Like the random calls.
Yeah.
Now look, I mean, we all have caller ID, and there's times that I look down, oh, I need to grab that. But it's a big help if I'm doing that, if you, Mel, know that I'm doing that.
Right.
And it's like, all right, next hour, I'm trying to catch as many of the incoming calls as possible so that Paul can focus on this.
Yeah.
And then a couple of hours later, to reverse it. If we don't support one another in it, that really does kind of weaken the whole thing.
Yeah.
Where when you have some staff members that are going to the boss is like, well, why isn't Susie answering any of the calls?
Yeah.
I'm just being totally overwhelmed. And the boss like, Susie, answer the calls. It's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose here. We're trying to be more intentional about what we do and when we do it. And for that to work out really, really well, we need the support of everybody. And I'm just trying to get the office kind of on a common schedule of that, where some people are on the phone, some people are off the phone, some people are doing outbound, some people are doing inbound, and everybody's kind of coordinated like that. Really makes scheduling out the day really effective.
Yeah, and that's it's something that it may be kind of hard at first, but just like a sports team, you get to know one another and know how to work with one another. So it may be hard at first to get it going and instill that as a culture in your office, but once everybody gets to know each other and that communication is there, where one knows that you like to do certain things in the morning, and so if you like to focus on something in the morning, like look, I got to go on these spreadsheets, or I got to look at these documents that need to go out, and I need to do that in the morning.
Yep.
I'm not gonna look at you and say, hey, Paul, there's this guy walking in. You want to handle him? Well, I already know that the answer is no, because you're working on something else.
Right.
And when the evening comes, and that's where I can say, hey, do you want to handle this guy coming in or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah. And that brings up a different topic of respecting other people's time. We've worked with actually more than one person.
Yeah.
It didn't really have a concept of other people are working on something right now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's like, hey, Paul, come look at this for me, and it would have been something that was not requiring my attention at that exact moment.
Right.
And you want to be polite with coworkers. Sometimes you also want to throw them against the wall, but you can't do both of those.
Yeah.
And you should lean toward the first option, because the other option will land you in jail. But it gets really frustrating, because like I'm really right in the middle of something.
Yeah.
And you are taking my time on something that where my time is not required. And that's that's kind of something that we should be asking ourselves too, is do I need to be talking to my coworkers about this topic? And if I need to, does it need to be right now, or should it be a different time?
Yeah.
And sometimes it needs to be right now, and that's and that should be understandable for everyone. And but sometimes it's like, well, why don't we wait till a lunch break, or or skip it completely. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're gonna work on your social media presentation, you don't need a coworker calling you over to look at every funny entry that he's going to
exactly.
put up on his
right. Yeah. Exactly.
on his presentation.
Yep. So
that's what I remember from all that you just said. All these memories start coming back, and I remember.
Yeah. Goodness. Well. So. In general, for those who are chronic multitaskers, as I think we really all are at heart, I know it feels really good at the end of the day to say I worked on 15 different things. You feel accomplished there, and you don't necessarily feel as accomplished if you go home at the end of the day and say I worked hard on one thing. But try the one thing and measure your progress on it, and see how you do with that, and do it over time, because that's where you're really going to see that when multitasking has been drilled into us that this is the way to go since birth. You're not going to feel right about you're trying to avoid multitasking. You're going to feel bad about it. So don't go off your feelings. It's like, well, Paul and Mel told me to schedule out my day, but it feels terrible.
Yeah. There's just way too many things going on, and I just don't feel right. Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's like, the phone was ringing, and Mel had to answer, and I don't feel good about that. That's not the measure of it. Measure your results. How is your quality and how is your speed with these things, and I think you're going to see both of them increasing, and once you start seeing that, then you're going to be sold on the concept of organizing your day, of focusing on one thing, at most two things at a time, of really drilling down on those things and then moving to something else. But even when you're convinced you've got, I fall off that wagon so many times, and that's the whole reason we're talking about it today, because I spent the last 2 days restructuring my weeks, because I had stopped.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, I've got to add 3 more things that I'm working on right now. Well, let's just kind of do some of it all right now, and so.
And in this age of, computer programs and apps on the phone, there's plenty of help to get you going.
Hey,
down that path.
Hold on. Somebody's texting me on Facebook. Oh no, the opposite.
Yeah.
We want apps to help us.
Apps to help us. Yes.
I hadn't thought of that before. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I wish we had some sort of recommendation. Do you have something? Because I don't.
No.
That would be really good, though. I
have a few, but I keep switching between them because I need more prodding. So I keep looking for ones that are more assertive to make me do what I need to do.
Just hire some dude to come every hour and slap you.
I will not give you that pleasure.
I work cheap. I work very cheap. Oh, goodness.
But my wife says that she'll do the same thing, but I just don't trust her because she hits pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, I think that will do it. Of note, for those of us especially who watch the video, and I'm sure those we've mentioned it before, we do try to record more than one of these at a time. Mm-hmm. We kind of get together every 2 to 3 weeks and churn out several of them. Yeah. But we did very poorly on our scheduling today, so this is the only one we're gonna accomplish.
That's it.
This is it. And
so, if you're looking at video, you'll actually see a change of clothes.
Right. Unless I accidentally wear this shirt
the next time.
A week from now. I need more shirts just to keep the video and have some variety there.
Right.
Oh goodness! But thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We know that you're here each and every week without fail. and we're so glad that you join us on bright and early on Monday morning, or whenever you do choose to listen. But we do thank you for continuing to listen and taking the time to make sure that you are thinking through your career, thinking through the way you help others, and making sure that you are the best insurance professional that you can be. We really do appreciate you joining us in that. Please do tell a friend, let other people know about us, and that's the way we get new listeners. It's kind of like the referral when the insurance agent is always wanting people to give referrals. It's like, hey, you're the best agent ever. Well, I appreciate you telling me that, but why don't you tell a friend that?
Yeah.
And so we really do appreciate you letting us know that we're doing a good job. But how about you let a friend know? We'd really appreciate that. So thank you so much, and we will catch you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.